Okay, so this will be take two of my knife review of the Fiskars K40 utility knife. And I did a video about an hour ago, possibly two, where I did a review, and then after I went on uploading it, I realized there was no audio. And on my laptop there's a button you can push and it turns off the microphone. And I must have had it pushed, so I just sitting there talking needlessly for 35 minutes. So yeah, this is take two, and it will probably be a shorter video. I'm a little bit tired. It's later in Sweden. It's actually all 2:32, and I'm still up. So before I go to bed, I'll finish the night review. And this is not a tabletop review. It's not a super professional video. It's not 4K. It's not super good lighting, but I'm going to be talking a little bit about this new knife that I bought on Amazon for around 10 US dollars, which should be around 100 Swedish crowns, and with free shipping. And I got it today. Well, it's a new day now. It's after 12. It's after midnight. Yesterday, I got it yesterday with Amazon Home Delivery, and I have the Amazon Prime subscription, which I think is worth it. It's I think it's 69 crowns a month for the Prime, and it gives me free home delivery, and they have next day delivery on some items, so it's fast delivery, but not faster than other sites. On some other sites, I had to pay a lot more, and I'm on a budget, and I spend on just other things I have to buy every month, so I have to minimize expenses where I can, like cut costs. I buy supplements for around $300 more or less every month, and I have to do that to be in good health and have the fitness that I want and the energy and feel as good as I want to feel. And I keep my allergies in check and stuff. I had to spend a lot of money on supplements, and there's things I gotta buy sometimes, like replacement filters for air purifiers and like must-haves, must-buys. And I can't really justify to myself buying expensive things that I don't really need. Um, just some things that you want, but that you don't really need. So I can truthfully think to myself, yeah, I do need to have a knife, possibly more than one knife. I don't need um, a super expensive knife, even though I would want one. So I'm not knocking more pricey knives. There are some knives that are more expensive than high quality than some cheap knives. But cheap is not necessarily bad. Cheap does not necessarily mean bad. Not always. Not necessarily, not by default. So yeah, I buy cheap knives, and maybe at some points I buy more expensive knives, but so far I focus on buying affordable knives, cheap knives. And my latest purchase of a affordable knife is the Fiskars K40 utility knife, and I bought that on Amazon. And like I said, I had the Amazon Prime with free shipping and free home delivery, and I got this on the next day delivery. I think it took less than 24 hours for it to get here, and it's worth the Amazon Prime for me. It's worth it. Gives me the free home delivery option. Some items have next day delivery. You can enable the in the filters on Amazon. You can click like next day delivery, and you can find items that they will deliver the next day. And it's I think it's 69 crowns a month for the Amazon Prime, and it gives me that. And also gives me access to Amazon Prime Video, and it's kind of similar to Netflix. They have a library of free, you pay for a subscription. They have a library of TV shows and series that you can watch, the Amazon Prime membership. So yeah, there's some good stuff you get from the Amazon Prime, and mostly I would pay for the 69 pound thing, even if it was not, even if it didn't give me access to free movies. Free movies. It's not free if you pay for a subscription. Okay, I would still pay the 69 crowns to get the free home delivery, which is not free either, really, if you think about it, because you're paying for a subscription to TC or free delivery. But for the next day delivery with Amazon Prime, it's worth it. 69 crowns, around $7 a month. It's worth it for me. And started buying more stuff on Amazon. I used to buy in other places. There's some things I started buying on Amazon instead of on other places like I used to before. Yeah, so this is my latest knife purchase, and it's I keep this under 30 minutes, 5 minutes, 34 seconds now. This is the Fiskars K40 knife, and in the previous video I did, where the microphone was off, this is take 2. I did a short review, talk about this. Less short, it's 45 minutes. It should be less than 30 minutes. And this is the K40. Now this is not out of the box standing. I added the grip tape in the previous video, the silent video with no audio. I got my grip tape out, my skateboard tape. See something that came loose down here. I have to push it back. And I improved the grip. Some things, let's go over some quick bullet points. What I like about this knife, pros and cons. Pros, it's lightweight. And since I'm into knife martial arts, I like fixed blade knives, and I like personal preference. I'm not saying fixed blade knives are always better. What I prefer, my personal preference, is fixed blade knives. I like fixed blade knives. Since knives are not legal to carry in public, I focus on knives I can carry at home, so concealment becomes less of an issue. I can have this at home on my belt, in my pants, and it doesn't need to be concealable. Okay, I wear it at home. I don't carry knives in public. It's illegal. Okay. Break the law, breaking the law, breaking the law, don't do it. Yeah, okay. So here's the K40, and fixed blade knife. It's lightweight, and I like lightweight knives. There's some benefits to heavier knives. Like a heavy blade it has its benefits. Okay, if you chop a wood or something, or other things, a heavy blade has its benefits. But for speed, holding something light in your hand translates to speed. A lightweight knife translates to lightning fast cuts. Can translate to lightning fast cuts. Light knife, lightning fast cuts. Can translate to that. A light knife translates to speed. And also less fatigue. You don't get tired as quickly. You can do this for longer. You can do more repetitions of this with a light knife and with a heavy knife. So I like light knives. It's like faster. You can move your hand faster with a light knife than with a heavy knife. So it's lightweight. I like lightweight knives in general. And I like the blade profile. It's good for stabbing. Now this is a utility knife, so I'm not going to judge it as if they were marketing it as a tactical self-defense fighting knife, because it's not that. It's a utility knife. Now utility knives, some utility knives, even though they're not marketed as knife martial arts, knife fighting knives, they can serve in that role. Okay, a good example would be the hard head utility knife, I call it carpenter's knife. This has been quite heavily modified. I added some jimping to the back of it using a Dremel, and I just added some jimping here as a kind of like a thumb rest, and it improves the grip. I have my thumb here for the backstop, so to speak, using the thumb as a backstop for cutting. It gives more strength and stability to your cut. If you have your hand here, your thumb here in this jimping, I added some jimping using a Dremel at the back. You can also use it to score wood if you use it as an outdoors knife. You use it to score wood. I showed that in the previous video, video too. And to prove that, if someone says, I don't think your jimping will do that, okay, I'll prove it to you. Here's a flat blade, flat piece of wood, and I will use my do-it-yourself jimping that I did on this knife to make a notch here. And this could be useful if you're in the outdoors and you make your traps, or you make your tentacles, or you're making a fishing rod, or a bow, or whatever, and you want to attach a string to a piece of wood, so you can make a notch like this all around it. Not just here, make it a little bit deeper, and then all around it, and you can add a string, tie a string to it to secure it in place. So that's useful. I did that modification to the knife. I had this over a year. This is a knife that I like. It's not a full tang blade. This is also lightweight. It's got decent ergonomics. The handle is good ergonomics. It has a rubbery texture here. Good grip. What I don't like is this. It doesn't have a handle guard that's pronounced. It's not protruding a lot. So I used this in training before I got the plastic training knives I have now. I used this in training foolishly. And I was practicing and cutting and stabbing at a bookshelf. It was like an MDF board. It kind of hard. And when I stabbed it once, my hand slid over the handle, slid down here, and I cut myself on the blade. Since then, I'm not practicing with steel knives. That motivated me to buy rubber and plastic training knives. I don't practice cutting and hitting things with actual blades now. So I recommend that to you if you're into knife martial arts and train with knives and stuff. If you're going to be training, get some rubber and or plastic with wood or dial steel training knives to reduce the risk of injury. Let's say you do a SAS of practice cuts, and let's say there's a 1% chance. Now let's say you do 100 training cuts. Let's say there's a 1% chance in 100 cuts they will hurt yourself. If you do it 1,000 times, that would be close to 100%. When that is right, 100% chance you're gonna get cut. So yeah, it's good to have safe training equipment. Rubber and plastic knives. I bought the Peach training knife, and that came in the same package from Amazon as the Fiskars knife. So I got a training knife and a real knife. This is the hardened knife, and I use that kind of to compare and contrast. Both are utility knives, and both are knives that I look at as potential fighting knives. Now this is heavily modified. I've added grooves with a Dremel, cut grooves into this. Functional, not good looks, not to make it decorating, just very practical and functional to improve the grip a little bit. If I have it in this grip, for example, it adds the grip. It makes the grip better to have these notches there. And yeah, I did that. And I added the notches. Then I tried sharpening it, and I added a false edge to it. Now when I use my Dremel with the attachment on it, the attachment was not very good. It wasn't even. There was like the attachment is supposed to be round, and it kind of goes in, so it was really hard to work with. So it's not a really good edge. I'm gonna have to work on that and fix this. I might buy a new one. It's not expensive knife. I can buy a new one. But as a project and to improve my experience, I might put a new attachment on my Dremel and work to improve this tip. It needs some work. But I added a false edge to it. Not a perfect false edge, but a little bit of false edge. I added chimping to it at the back, which can help with the grip if you use it like this, not like this. Have it here, it adds to your grip a little bit, and like I showed you before, you can use it to notch wood. Lightweight, also lightweight, and I actually like this more. The Fiskars K40. It's light, even lighter than that one. I don't know if I don't think it's a full tank. There might be a thin wall of this steel going down, maybe 50%. Different manufacturers do it differently. Sometimes they do it all the way down. Sometimes they have kind of like a skeleton frame, and it's a little bit bigger, but it's all in the middle. It's different. I don't know what they did to this, but if it's just flat and goes down here, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know, but this is what it looks like. And this is not the original handle. The handle, like pros and cons, quick bullet point pros and cons about this knife. The handle, the shape of it is ergonomic. The shape is ergonomic. It feels your hand well. I have quite big hands, and some knives I had to really squeeze them to get a good grip on it. Okay, this knife, it has a good handle. It feels my hand well, and you can see the shape here. It's ergonomic in the sense that it's made to fit your hand well. Feels your hand. It's a good grip in that sense. Now, what's not good about the grip is the texture of this. I don't know if it's ABS plastic or it's made out of some kind of plastic. It's a little bit slippery, even with dry hands, not sweaty wet hands. It's a little bit slippery, and I don't like that. So what I did in my previous video that was silent, the mic was off. I didn't know that. I made a video, but it was off. I added some skateboard grip tape to it to improve the grip, and now it's a really good grip. Now it won't slide. And I added some at the bottom to the reverse grip, hold like this. It just makes it a better grip. Less likely to slide. And this is not marketed as a fighting knife, tactical knife, but it can be used as such. The blade profile is good for stabbing. Has a good tip for stabbing, and it has a straight edge that tapers down. It doesn't have a bevel. It doesn't have this bulge that goes out, where you can, if you connect here and then push through, kind of pull down, where it cuts more and more. It's just straight and then it tapers back. So this is more niched into a stabbing roll than a cutting roll by its design. Some knives are designed more for being good at cutting, and you have to compromise in one area. If you want to niche yourself to be a good stabber, a lot of times you have to compromise cutting. And if you want to be really good at stabbing, you might have to compromise cutting. This knife, if you look at it from the knife fighting knife as a weapon roll, this will be more niched into stabbing than cutting. I showed in the previous video, and I can show it again, the factory sharpness. It came sharp enough to the factory, which is a pro, and you can cut paper. You see. There you go. Yeah, it's sharp enough. It's not razor sharp out of the box. I can improve this edge, but it's sharp enough to cut. Not razor sharp, but out of the box it's sharp. There's some knives I bought, some Emtech knives that arrive and they're kind of dull at the tips. Now the knife I bought from Emtech, it was a dagger, a mini dagger, and when I bought it, it was really dull at the sides of it. Now a dagger is supposed to be good at stabbing, not at cutting, really. So I don't fault them too much for that. I would have preferred it if the edges were sharp. This one is not dull. It's not razor sharp, but it's sharp. It can cut. You can cut wood with this, paper, meat, whatever. You can cut with this. So it's a utility knife. And this is not a bad knife for the price, around $10. And pros, lightweight, stainless steel. If you bring this fishing, outdoors, camping, what have you, this can be a good knife. Won't rust. The sheath has a drainage hole at the bottom and venting holes at the top. If you're out fishing or it's raining, you're outdoors and water gets in here, or you're cutting something and water gets on it, put it back in. That helps it to not rust. Even stainless steel can rust. If I get it in salt water and let it stay in there, it can rust. But stainless does not mean stain proof. Stainless, less, not stain now. Okay. So yeah, that's a good thing about the sheath. It has the vent holes there and the drain hole if I'm out fishing and I got things, it's raining, or I drop the skin on the blade, I put it back but I'm wiping it off, or I'm having it on my side and water runs down into the sheet. It's not going to fill up with water and stay inside. It's going to drain out here, and then you have the vent holes here increasing air circulation, and it's gonna help to keep it dry. So yeah, it's what I don't like about the sheet and what I don't like about the handle, slippery texture. I like the shape. I don't like the texture. It's a little bit slippery, the texture. No real big complaint about that, because what it's made for is for like cutting wood and maybe gutting fishes and sharpening sticks if you're camping. It's a utility knife, not marketed as a fighting knife. So I'm not going to judge it as if they marketed it as a fighting knife. It's a utility knife that could be used as a fighting knife, okay? And it being a little bit slippery in the texture doesn't really matter if you're using it to cut sticks. And what it's marketed for, a utility knife, cutting wood and stuff. It doesn't need to be really non-slippery because it's not made for stabbing down at things. Okay, it's not made for things like that where you're gonna put a lot of force into, like throwing at something. It's gonna connect, and then you want to make sure your hand doesn't glide off. It's not made for that. It's made for controlled cutting of wood and stuff. Maybe cutting fishes and stuff. So yeah, that being said, the shape is good of the handle, good ergonomics, the shape fits well in your hand. The texture is a little bit slippery, so that's why I added the do-it-yourself customization grip tape here. 1, 2, 3, 4 strips of it, one on each side, one in the front, one in the back, and then this plus sign at the bottom for the reverse grip. Okay, so yeah, I kind of like this knife, and if that changes, I'll make an update video. But it's so far so good. I like this knife, and right sharp, and good profile for stabbing if you do knife martial arts. Good for penetrating things, and I looked for a knife that had a good handle guard here. What I do not like about the hardhead knife is it's kind of subtle, discreet handle guard. And it's easy for your hand to slide off, especially if you have bigger fingers. It's easy for your hand to slide off. If you do reverse grip stabs and you're sweating, your hand can slide off and you can cut yourself. So I look for a knife, a utility knife, cheap utility knife. That's what I look for, cheap utility knife. And I saw this, and I like this. It has a protruding handle guard here. Okay, so it helps my hand from sliding down the blade if I stab something like that, and even more security for the stabs with the thumb here, pinky here, squeeze it. That keeps your hand from sliding down the handle. You have your hand further up like this, and you get more range, a little bit more range, a few more centimeters of range if you have your grip like this. And it also helps you to not get close to that. You don't even need to have your hand here, your hand back here, or like this with the thumb here. And this is the break. The grip is the break. So if you're looking for a knife, if you're an outdoorsman or a fisherman, you like camping, and maybe you have an expensive knife like a K-bar knife, or tracker knife, or a cold steel knife, a more pricier high-end one. Maybe you want to have like a backup knife, a cheaper knife. This you won't cry about it if you're out and you're working in the woods and you scratch it against a rock or something, or you hurt it some height, it breaks, or you lose it. You won't cry about it because, so to speak, because it's around a $10 knife. Okay, if you have a knife that costs $100 and you lose it in the woods, or you hit a rock and scratch, you might feel like, oh, that's my knife. I paid a lot of money for that. This you won't really cry about if you lose it or it breaks, gets damage somehow, finish or whatever, get a scratch on it, whatever. You're not gonna it's not gonna bother you that much. This costs you $10. Oh, I can buy it. So you could have this as a secondary knife. You can have a more expensive knife, survival knife, or outdoors knife. You can have this kind of as a backup. And you can use this for minor work, cutting sticks, whatever you want to do. So yeah, this is a knife I wouldn't mind recommending to somebody. If you're looking for a cheap outdoors knife, utility knife, or a fighting knife, I could recommend this to them. And I would advise them you might have to improve the grip, get some grip tape and put it on there. You can even get a Dremel, one of these circular things used to cut pipes and score notches in it, or you could use a file and make like notches, just straight notches, similar to what I did on this knife. You can do that with the handle from the grip tape. You score it all the way down here, here. That will improve your grip somewhat. But you can use grip words, skateboard tape on it too, and you can remove that if you want to have it anymore. Yeah, so the Fiskars K40 knife, it's a good knife for the price. And pros: ergonomic handle shape, lightweight, stainless steel. Good profile if you're interested in using it as a fighting knife. It's got a good blade profile for stabbing, penetrating things, and a right sharpness on the pro. Lightweight, like I said. Cons: the sheath. It doesn't have a sheath like the hardhead knife that I can use on any pant. I can even put it on my plate carrier rig on the molly and have it like that. Even sweatpants, I can just put it at the top of my pants, pull down, and it hangs there. And I don't need a belt. With this sheet, we need a belt because it's closed off at the bottom here, so I can't put this on like sweatpants and pull down on it. I could cut this off, like break this bottom, but it's already a little bit weak and flimsy, plastic. So if I would do it, I might weaken it further, and it might come loose. So yeah, it's out of the box. It's for a belt or a string. And yeah, this I don't like that about the sheath, and it's kind of flimsy. That's in plastic here. And I feel like it could break if you wear this a lot. But for the price, I'm not complaining. And yeah, I don't like that about the sheath, but I do like is the I like the sheath on its whole. This one thing about it I don't like. This. I would prefer if they had something like this. And this you can use both with a belt and all sweatpants or whatever, shorts even. Don't need a belt. This you need a belt or a string. But yeah, it's good for its price. It's got the vent hole, it's got the British hole, all plastic, lightweight. So this is lightweight. It's a light knife. And if you're out in the woods, if you're doing a hike or whatever, it can become important to be everything to be light, for everything to be light, to reduce fatigue when out walking. And you want light things. Yeah, some people know about this. Like you want everything to be light if you're gonna do hiking or long treks. You want things to be light. You're mindful of the weight of things. You want to minimize the weight so you don't get more tired than you need to. And if you want to bring a knife, this is a really light knife, and it's unlikely to break using it normally. I don't try to chop down a tree with this, but that's not what it's used for, meant for. But yeah, for if you're a camper, outdoorsman, it's not a bad knife to have. And I'm not saying you should only have this. If you have more expensive survival knife, outdoors knife, you can also have this. and it's light, something you can add to your gear. It's light, it doesn't take up a lot of space, doesn't take up, it's not very heavy. And I see I already gone for 30 minutes. I said less than 30 minutes. I'm going to finish up. It's late in Sweden. But yeah, so this is the Fiskars K40 knife, and I'm happy with it. Around $10 on Amazon. And I'd like to finish. Almost like a mirror polish here. And the right sharp from the factory, sharp enough. Needed some improvement on the grip, but that was easily done. Just some grip tape. And if you use the grip tape, be mindful of not putting it too high up, because then it becomes hard to get in the sheath and to get it out of the sheath, because it becomes more of a tight fit when you put it in, so it might be hard to get out the sheath. And you're also like sanding down the inside of this, so you want to keep the grip tape further down the handle, get it right so it doesn't get too tight of a fit here. So yes, this is the whole package. It's kind of a small knife, and it's light, and it can serve as a fighting knife. It's lightweight, transistor speed, good for stabbing. I wouldn't mind having this as a left-hand knife, and then like a machete or a katana machete, or like a bigger knife in my right hand. If you want to use this for defense, you can have this for quick jabs, aka stabs at close range, and parrying kind of things. And then the bigger blade for the later more powerful long range cuts. So you can have this to parry as your board. You can like stab with it, and then follow up with the more powerful bigger blade you have in the right hand. It can be useful for that. And just a good tape is all you need to fix the somewhat slippery grip. Yeah, so I'm not unhappy with it. For the price, it's a good knife, and I give it a 3.5 to 4 out of 5 rating. And Mike's martial arts rating scale, he gets 3.5 to 4 rating. And for the price, it's a good knife. Fiskars K40, you found on Amazon. Alright, I think that's gonna be it. I think I got one to cover. And if I make I might add a jimping at the back of it. I'm not gonna make a false edge of it. It doesn't really need it. It's so thin at the end. If I add a false edge, it's gonna weaken the tip, make it more likely to break if you put something over it. So I'm not gonna do that. It doesn't really need that because of the way the blade is shaped and the thinness and everything. It will stab well, penetrate well. It doesn't need the false edge, but it might do with some jimping. Personal preference, like right here, I could add some jimping for better grip if I want my thumb like this. So I might do that, and possibly I'll record a video using the Dremel. Might be interesting to someone, see how I'm getting the jimping done. Or I can make a video, possibly I'll make a video showing this, I've done the jimping, show what it looks like. It's not for decoration, it's very functional, practical. So yeah, that's I think that's gonna be it. This is the Fiskars K40 knife, and against another utility knife in its price range, I think I would go with this. If I had to pick one, I think I might go with this. This one is lighter. It's got a better stabbing blade. It rides sharp out of the box. It has a more pronounced handle guard up here. Drag my fingers for sliding down the blade. So I think I will go with this. If I could only pick one of these, I think I would pick this over the hardhead one. And they're in the same price range. They're roughly the same size, as you can see. And it's just like a new knife to brighten up your day if it's knives. And I like the knives. don't have to be expensive. Maybe at some point I'll go to more expensive knives, but not at this point. I can't justify that to myself. It will feel irresponsible. There's other things I need to buy, and I don't really need like a collector's high quality knife. I can do cheap knives right now. Like I said, cheap doesn't necessarily mean bad. Cold steel knife, one of my favorite knives is the Cold Steel FGX Wasp. It's made from some kind of fiberglass reinforced plastic and or polymer, and it's super tough for a plastic knife. I could use the metal radiator. I could stab through the metal radiator. Of course, normal plastic, all that force you're pushing down here, hitting metal, and you have this long blade. If it was weak and not like strong, then it would bend and then snap off. So testing like that shows how strong the FGX Wasp is, and you can really penetrate with it, and it can cut well too. It's not made to, it's not a utility knife. Of course, the FGX Wasp is not a utility knife. It's like a self-defense knife you might have at home, and if you need it to defend yourself once, you can use it once. It's not made for like chopping wood and stabbing metal. That's not what it's made for. Now it can do that. It can cut wood and it can stab through metal, but it's not made for that. So the cold steel knife I have is damaged, but that doesn't really say anything bad about the product. It's not made for that. And I've used it heavily. Like I use it to hit dense wood. I use it to stab metal many times. I use it in like training, not just shadow boxing type stuff, but actually like cutting things. So yeah, that's not saying anything bad about the product, because it's not made for that. It's made for self-defense, cutting human flesh, not for hitting dense wood and stabbing through metal. But it can do that. It can do that. So yeah, that knife, the Cold Steel FGX Wasp, cost me around, I think, 20 bucks. 20 bucks, around 20 bucks with shipping, around 200 crowns. That's a cheap blade, cheap knife. And so yeah, cheap doesn't necessarily mean low quality. You can find cheap knives that are good knives. Cheap does not necessarily mean bad, and expensive does not necessarily mean good. In some cases, you do get what you pay for, but you don't want to think that knife has to be expensive for it to be good. It can be better than a cheap knife, but it can be good without being cheap. And an example of that is this. It's a good knife for the price, for around $10. Yes, this is the Fiskars K40 utility knife, and this can be a knife. It can be good for camping, fishermen, outdoors activities, hikers, whatever. Good knife, lightweight, stainless steel, won't rust easily. Not too big. It can fit anywhere. You can do a lot of things with it. You can fillet fish. You can cut meat. You can cut wood, you can sharpen wood, you can do all kinds of stuff. You can use it for self-defense. It's a good knife for the price. Like I said, my biggest, the thing that I don't like about it is the slipperiness of the texture, not the shape. It's got a good ergonomic shape, but the texture of the handle is a little slippery. So I needed to add the grip texture. Now you can have gloves, like mechanic gloves, and then that will also be grip, or you can put the grip tape on. It's a quick fix, and it gives you a better grip. Alright, I think that might be it. And you got the audio this time. So last time I uploaded a video, and if you watch that, I mean, you can still watch it if you want to see the knife and stuff, but it's just me sitting there, and you can't hear anything because the microphone was off apparently. It should be on this time. I'll know after I upload it. Yeah, okay, so that's gonna be the end of this video. I hope you got something out of this, and if you're in the market for a cheap utility knife on Amazon, you can take a look at the Fiskars K40. Not a bad knife for the price. Can be good to add to your collection. Alright, so hope that helped you out, and take care of yourself out there. And if you're into knife martial arts and training, once again, I will remind you to train safe. And don't try any of the stuff you see me do on my YouTube channel. I've done some wild stuff, throwing knives aside, some of the risky stuff before. I'm getting more and more careful with my training, less and less reckless. Yeah, train safe, that's a good reminder. I will do more and more of that display. When I do anything that's like borderline risky, if I do something that somebody could get hurt doing, I will add a disclaimer. Don't try this at home. Disclaimers are not for cautious people. They're for people that find a video that might be drunk and they have a knife at home and they see your video doing so. I don't want to do it too. No, don't try this at home. Or people who are, it's not for like cautious people in the right mind. That's not what disclaimers are for. It's meant for people who might stumble across the video and who need a don't try this at home. Alright, so that's gonna be the end of the video. Hope you got something out of this, and take care of yourself out there. Alright, that's the end of this knife review. Fiskars K40 internal knife. Can't doubt West Friday knife. Alright, okay, so that's gonna be it. Bye.